Imagine in a country where you have casualties, soldiers dying in the line of duty every second day. The number of soldiers who are wounded would be far larger. But do we ever talk about them? The ones who've lost their limbs, their eyes, their faces blown up. So I try to bring awareness about these soldiers and these families and how they lead their lives, inspirational lives despite all the losses and the trauma. And somehow during my journeys of writing, I realized this is my calling. This is what I have to do in life, to bring forward these stories to you, these stories of unsung heroes of Indian armed forces. Uh, सबसे पहले I would like to share with you a story of Ruby from Kashmir, wife of a soldier, all right? And Ruby had 3 children, and her husband was posted in Kashmir at a very forward post. And one day, her son went on a car ride with a friend, and he met with a very, very serious accident. He was in the ICU, he was in the coma, and the father had to be called in. Okay, your son has met with the accident. And unfortunately, Ruby lost her son. As they were preparing the body for the last rites, the soldier husband had also come in, and pura khandan and everyone was there, the people, friends, mohalle wale, everyone from the government agencies. Nobody had realized, Kashmir being what it is, nobody had realized that the terrorists were keeping an eye on the soldier father also. So they had this body of the son here for the last rites, and the terrorists barged in and they shot the father as well. Ruby told me, मैम उस दिन मेरे घर से 2 अर्थियाँ निकली थी. I froze. मेरे अंदर जान नहीं थी. I didn't know what to say. And today, as we speak, Ruby is the voice of the voiceless of Kashmir, voice of the orphans of Kashmir, orphans of the terrorism in Kashmir. आप रूबी के पास कोई प्रॉब्लम में जाइए, she'll head right away to the military offices, to the government offices, and she is such a well-respected woman that all her valid requests are entertained by the government agencies. So that is the kind of grit and determination that I saw in her, despite having such huge losses in her own personal life. Uske baad, I went and met other people. I had to travel all across the country. And down south in Maharashtra, I met Usha Ghadge. Usha was again married to a soldier, and she was very young, and she lost her parents very early in life. And she and her husband, Subedar Ghadge Sahab, they had 5 daughters. So whenever Subedar Ghadge used to come home, everyone would tell him, "Are you go to a Baba, you go to a Tantrik, you should have a son. Kahan 5 ladkiyan ho gayi?" You know how our society is, and having 5 daughters is still not considered a very good thing. So to which Subedar Ghadge would say कि तुम लोग ऐसे नहीं बोलो. I will prove it कि मेरी 5 लड़कियां जो हैं 5 पांडव बन के खड़ी होंगी. And in the privacy of his home, he would tell his wife, Usha, कि कुछ भी करो, चाहे 2 साड़ियों में तुम अपना जीवन निकाल दो, but हमारी 5 लड़कियों को एजुकेशन बहुत अच्छी देना. So somehow in the line of duty, unfortunately, Subedar Ghadge was killed in action, and Usha was left all by herself to take care of 5 little daughters. When the last rites and the rituals, which spanned around 2-3 months, got over, she packed her bags and she moved to a village to a town called Satara to educate her girls. She used to get a small little pension. She started to stitch clothes, ensuring that her girls go to school and colleges. As we speak today, her one daughter is a lawyer in Supreme Court. The second daughter is an air hostess. The third daughter is doing business in Dubai. The fourth daughter is an assistant professor in Aurangabad. And the fifth daughter has just completed her MBA. So, Panch Pandav it is. Jo, the dream that Subedar Ghadge had dreamt for his daughters came true just because of the sheer determination of Usha and her daughters. These stories opened my heart and my eyes to such people who are so inspiring. Because as we sit here in our day to day lives, somebody passes a nasty comment and we feel bad about it and we sulk for days कि उसने मुझको ऐसे कह दिया और वो कह दिया. And here we have living examples of people who have lost their loved ones, who've lost their limbs, body parts, are not able to work on their own, yet leading their life with their heads held high. So for my next book, I took up another topic that was about the disabled soldiers of Indian Armed Forces. For that, again, I had to travel a lot and meet a lot of soldiers. And in the course of my journey, I met Mridul Ghosh from West Bengal. Mridul was with the Indian Air Force. And during his duty, he met with a very tragic accident due to which he was paralyzed from his neck below. It took him 3 years of medical treatment, hospitalization to get onto the wheelchair. Mridul was just not ready to accept it. He was just not ready to give up. He felt that no, this couldn't be happening to him and this must be some kind of a nightmare. But the fact was, Mridul was a paralyzed soldier now. He was taken to a rehabilitation center where other paraplegic soldiers, paralysis soldiers were playing volleyball, they were swimming, they were participating in Paralympic games and doing call center jobs. Mridul didn't like anything. He was exposed to all kinds of activities and it was his choice to take up whatever he wanted to do in life. But he just didn't like anything. And he still felt that he wanted to walk and, go back to his station and work as a Air Force chap. But life had some other plans for him. One day, a delegation of Foot and Mouth Association, which is headquartered in Switzerland, their delegation visited the center. Mridul saw, he participated in their workshop, and he realized that probably the colors have some future with him. So he started to paint by holding the paintbrush with his lips because neck below he could not function. So he started to paint, and as of today, Mridul is a lifetime member of Foot and Mouth Painters Association. He gets a stipend from Switzerland and has 8 paraplegic soldiers training under him. His dream was to educate his younger sister. He ensured that, made her study till the time she wanted to study. She's done her PhD. And he built a house for himself in his hometown. And he very proudly says, कि मैम मेरा जो बहन है ना, वो हमारा community में सबसे ज़्यादा educated लड़की है. So despite his disability, Mridul rose up to the occasion and did whatever best he could. And the glow on his face said it all. So we hardly hear such stories of valor. This is something beyond the battlefield. This is courage beyond the battlefield. So one day I was traveling for my book and for more stories like Mridul for this book. I met an officer. And the moment I was about to meet him, there was a glass panel and he was lying straight on the hospital bed. So I told the lady officer who was accompanying me, let's not disturb him. I think he's sleeping, he's taking rest. We'll come some other day. She said, ma'am, no, he's waiting for you. I said, see, he's lying. So she said, ma'am, aap chalo. The moment I opened the door, I was greeted, "Good afternoon, Ambreen Zaidi, ma'am. How have you been?" And that voice, it was so thrilling, it was so beautiful. I felt so nice. And then I realized I met Colonel Prakash lying straight on his bed. He is the only soldier of Indian Armed Forces who is a pentaplegic. He was hit here in his spine, and the injury was so bad that he has to take help of a machine here to even breathe. He cannot breathe on his own. So he's a pentaplegic soldier. हाथ पैर तो करते ही नहीं काम है, but even the breathing process needs assistance. So what he has got done, he's got an iPad fixed on his hospital bed, and with the help of the voice recognition software, he does all his work. So when we met and we exchanged our greetings, he told me about, "Ma'am's, your sir was posted from this year to this year in this station. He was in Pune in this year. You were working with this organization. In that year, children were there." So being in the media, your information is all there in the internet. And I was so surprised. I said, "How did you know about it?" He said, "Ma'am, the day I got to know that you're coming to visit us, I dug out every information about you." I was actually surprised about it, but then I told him, I said, "Colonel Prakash, you're such a smart officer. Will you help me edit my book?" And our book is almost 75 to 80,000 words. उसे नीचे publishers लेते नहीं. And I saw that beautiful glow on his face कि मैं भी किसी के काम आ सकता हूँ. He said, "Ma'am, you'll allow me to edit your book? Touch your book?" I said, "Of course. When in 2 days you can dig out so much of information about me, you can very easily help me edit my book." And I just can never forget that beautiful smile on his face. And in his sweet little way, he said, "It'll be an honor, ma'am." And from that day onwards, we started working on my book. He is under a lot of medication because of his medical condition, but we used to stay awake in the night because he used to stay awake in the night, and we worked on the book. It took us a lot of time to edit the book, but we did it. And then I told my publishers, "Your editors are not going to touch my book because it has been edited by somebody very, very special." And they took my word for it. And once the book was out, my publisher said, "Ma'am, book launch karte hain. Kisko बुलाएंगे?" So earlier, the first book was launched by the Defense Minister, Shri Rajnath Singh ji. I said, "See, this time I don't want any Neta or Abhineta. I only want Colonel Prakash to launch my book." So I went back to him. I went back to his place and got my book launched by him. It was a difficult moment. Why? Because he was not able to even hold the book. He was not able to even sit on the wheelchair. He had to be supported from all the sides. But somehow we did it, and he was very proud of the work that we did. So that was the moment that I realized, okay, look at these people who are crossing the boundaries and the barriers that life has thrown at them, right? Yet they're not giving up. हमको आज कोई कुछ कह दे, हम 4 दिन तक पड़े रहेंगे, कुछ काम नहीं करेंगे कि ओहो, I went to that place and somebody said something very bad to me and I'm not talking to anyone and all that stuff. And we throw tantrums in front of our parents and refuse to do work just because somebody said something. That is the moment I realized, with such warriors in between us, we can do wonders. We can do wonders for the country that we live in, because this is the country they got hurt saving. They are the saviors of our country. Soldiers are the saviors of our country. And if they are hurt in the line of duty, we as a good citizen of India should be working doubly hard to ensure that we are good citizens and we are worth fighting for. Before I leave, I want to share another very interesting story from one of my books. This is from World War II. So this lady was married to a soldier from the Indian Army, and they were getting married. The rituals got over, and she was waiting for her husband to come in the night with a ghungat on, and there was pin drop silence outside, and she was waiting for him. Finally, she heard that the door opened, and she heard the noise of the boots. अब पल्लू तो उठा नहीं सकते थे. So her husband came in and he said, I have been called by my regiment and I have to report as soon as possible. I'll come back and then we'll do the rituals, whatever is left, and I'll see your face once I'm back. All she could see through her pallu were his black boots. He left and he was killed somewhere in Europe. उस टाइम पे बॉडीज भी वापस नहीं आती हैं. After 7 years, she got a small little box of his belongings. And this Shanti Devi, Dadi as we call her, she spent her entire life, her pension, whatever money she got from the government, in educating the girls of her village. People asked her to get remarried, find a life partner. She refused, saying, no, I think God has chosen me for this work and I should give back to my country what the country so lovingly gave to me, its son. So she passed away a few years back at the age of 102, still working for the girls and giving all her money, all her pension to the schools of the girls in her village. It's a Dhanori village in Rajasthan, which has the maximum numbers of soldiers in the Indian Army. So these are the instances which I was very keen to share with you all, because you are so young, you are in the prime of your lives, and you should realize that there are heroes beyond the Bollywood heroes, the superheroes living amongst us. We can just find out about them. Aajkal to internet pe there's so much of information. Otherwise, if you want to find about them, you can go to any Zilla Sainik Kalyan board and ask for the list of the martyrs, the soldiers killed in action, the widows. And if you tell them your intention that you're going to be their support, you want to meet them and give them your respects, they will be more than happy to share the information with you. So I think this is the time we should stand up for our soldiers. And as for me, I will keep creating awareness about these soldiers and their families, because they gave it all for all of us. Thank you so much.